Welcome back to Headlines. I'm Wes Austin, and these are today's top stories. In a move that's being called fake news on steroids, Kamala Harris's campaign has been editing news headlines in Google search results to make it appear like major news outlets are even more on her side than they already are. Some of the companies being included in this campaign are The Guardian, Reuters, CBS News, the Associated Press, and PBS. Kamala didn't think those outlets were one-sided enough? You guys have created a real monster. Here's one example of what they were doing. All this in yellow, the headlines and the text, this isn't from the news source, but instead was all written by the Kamala Harris campaign to make it look like a real headline from the news source. It's like putting a toad in a wig, but digitally and with even less self-awareness. Although this is misleading, these fake headlines do not violate Google's policies because they're labeled as sponsored and paid for by Harris for president. So even the fake news was not fake enough for Kamala Harris, so they had to make it even faker? That's like giving your nose job a boob job. I mean, not only is it wrong, but now your nose has cleavage, and not in a good way either. In a move that's sure to make you question reality, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz decided the best way to enforce a curfew was to turn the state into a live-action paintball arena. Imagine if Call of Duty and the Hunger Games had a baby, and that baby was raised by a paintball enthusiast. That's what you get in Minnesota with Tim Walz. A newly resurfaced clip from May 2020 shows a Humvee rolling down the street followed by 25 heavily armed cops in riot gear. This was in the trendy Whittier neighborhood, more than 2 miles from the area of the George Floyd riots. Here you can see a green paintball hitting a porch. That's easily the most terrifying game of paintball I've ever seen. And apparently they shot someone in the crotch. What kind of world do we live in where you aim for the crotch with a paintball gun? Has everyone gone mad? Do we have no decency left in the world? I mean, at least buy him dinner first. So I guess Walz thought it was best to just let the city burn for a few days and then go shoot paintballs at folks in a neighborhood so far from the action it might as well have been Canada. Why not just hurl bags of urine at Wisconsin? Minneapolis was in chaos and the cops were like, forget the looters, let's try out these new paintball guns on my mother-in-law's house. Apparently, one of Walz's tactics for riot control is a paintball fight. But don't worry, if the riots get dangerous enough, they plan to arm the police with dodgeballs. In a surprising turn of events, Dr. Anthony Fauci has gotten COVID again.
I got infected about 2 weeks ago. It was my third infection. And I had been vaccinated and boosted a total of 6 times.
When exactly will he admit that maybe it isn't as effective as he said? Third infection, and he's been vaxxed or boosted 6 times? You know what they say, the 7th time's the charm. At this rate, the virus might as well ask him to be its spokesperson. Oh, wait. Fauci's had 6 boosters and still got COVID 3 times? It's almost like the virus isn't reading its press releases. If Fauci gets it again, they're going to start naming variants after him. We've got a new COVID variant emerging, Fauci-cron. And in other news, the virus has reportedly started calling Fauci Dad. The Biden-Harris administration is using taxpayer funds to hide the upcoming increases in Medicare premiums. Why would they try to hide it? Is there an election coming up or something? Thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act, which was supposed to make drug costs for Medicare recipients as low as Biden's approval ratings, insurers are now set to raise monthly premiums. Some plans might even triple by 2025. To try to keep this quiet and avoid voter backlash, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services introduced a 3-year project to artificially lower premiums by increasing subsidies. So seniors won't see the premium hikes until after the election, and then it will come back with a vengeance, kind of like that sciatica during a long car ride. So yes, Medicare premiums are set to skyrocket, but don't worry, the Democrats have a plan. Use your money to make sure you don't notice until after the election. Democrats are so committed to buying votes, they're using your Medicare premiums as down payments. Who knew your health care could also identify as a campaign contribution? Thanks for watching Headlines. I'm Wes Austin. Good night.
and subscribe.